So that's your job. And your job is to be willing to die. You're a soldier, man. You're so on the front line. You've gone too far to turn back. If you went and hid in a basement for 6 weeks, people all over the world would think the government had killed you. So you have to understand your obligation, what the universe have gave you. And so just want you to know. Man, I looked at that smile on your face just now. And the first time I ever wished I was a photographer, to take that picture and let the world see that honesty and that integrity. And know some of the things I know, how you'll drive all over the country to chase us down.
It's like a stalker, though.
You hear me?
Yes, sir.
Chase us down. Okay?
I do feel like I have an obligation for people. I mean, it's bigger than me.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
But no, being business, you can't see it. It was business to Trump. He saw nothing.
All right.
Okay? Well, I just saw it, that smile. Okay. And so again, I just say, man, I thank you. I look at Kathy Hughes, what she's able to do with that children. I look at Carl Nelson, the Joe Madisons. You know, some can go further than others because some got leeway. But I just say, man, to sit here, my birthday, it's a weekend. Thank you for contributing to my birthday. You know, all I say is thank you. We move so fast. I don't know if you're married, I don't know if you're a family, I don't know if you're a wife. But when we get on here, we bosom friends. Anytime I see you, I stop whatever I'm doing. Hey, my man, how are you? Hey. Hey, man, what, you know? I owe that to you. Because together, we can beat this thug. Because it's the universal God. And so again, I just say thank you. Thank you for running me down, man. So again, but that's the obligation that you have. How old are you?
I'm 36.
Well, you don't have the right to do what 36 people do. You don't have the right to go to the dance or go to the party. You don't have a right to take that trip to Europe when I might need that plane fare to fly somebody else to feed my people that love me. You feed them. Oh, it's one thing being hungry from food. Right. There's another thing being hungry for information.
That's right.
And that's you the feeder. You got to be the farmer. You got to grow the crop. You got to till the grain. And at nighttime, when you hear something that sounds like water, you got to go see if the crop's going to be flooded. That's your job, man.
That's right.
And then you got to deal with people that think you're crazy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
No, that's their way out. I'm embarrassed that you told me this, and I didn't know it, so I think you're crazy. That's simple. Thank you.
Thank you, Baba Gregory, and the birds of the great Duke Ellington. We love you madly. Keep on producing and pushing.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Greetings, family. Welcome once again to a wonderful, entertaining, edutating edition of We All Be News Free Dixie for the 21st century. I'm your hostess with the mostest, Brother Ron, also known as R2C2H2, the artivist. You are checking out, the tune in, to get in where you don't fit in. Because in the words of Dr. Michael King, human salvation lies in the hands of the creatively maladjusted. And that was the one and only Baba Dick Gregory. I can't believe that will be 10 years ago this fall. So I'm definitely not 36. I'm on knocking on the door to 46, which is just several hours away. What a ride, what a ride. But we got a great show for you all. So please tune out to tune in and get in where you don't fit in. So we're gonna get it started. Don't get it twisted. And just enlist your thinking skills for this one. Because right now we are in the midst of the primaries. I think the Democratic primary is in Memphis. Early voting started April 15th and will end April 30th. And election day, or one of the election days, will be May the 5th, I believe. And we have a guest on here who's no stranger to community service, a true bona fide public servant, really beautiful spiritually and physically. And we should all be able to agree because we all be in it to win it. But I want to get this sister some airtime because I think it's very important that people know they have options out there, and that sometimes you got to do things in a different way and give different people a chance to shine on our behalf. So without further ado, the one and only beautiful sister, Queen Sonia Murphy Esquire. How you doing tonight, sister?
Hey, Brother Ron, how are you? And thank you for having me on and happy early birthday.
Oh, thank you. This is just a gift for me. This is a treat, actually. I had no idea that you had these type of aspirations at all. This was a pleasant surprise for me to find out. So, what got you encouraged to want to run for office?
So, funny story, probably about 5 years ago during the pandemic, we were all
Mm-hmm.
inside and I had conversation with friends of mine and they were saying, man, we need better leaders in government. We need people who are community service minded, who are leaders, who actually care about people, who show up and who have a track record of doing the right things,
Mm-hmm.
regardless of if someone's watching or not. And I was sitting there talking and just really just listening to the conversation. I said, wait, hold on. That kind of sounds like me.
Right.
And then I've always had a passion for the community, giving in, being involved in so many different organizations, being on the board of directors for two local foundations in Shelby County, being an AmeriCorps alum and a volunteer in service to America for several terms. Also being a Divine Nine Sister of Delta Sigma Theta sorority, which
Mhm.
that is a service organization and sorority. And always like loving life. Even when I was a little girl, I was a leader in 4-H, and also I was a Girl Scout. So, and so with all of those, and then having the legal background, being a Tennessee licensed attorney, I said, well, you know what? I want to be a government leader. I would like to be an elected official at some point in time. And then that thought kind of stayed in the back of my mind because I took on the responsibility of helping my elderly mother who was disabled and had
Mhm.
a lot of health issues. She started getting sick around that time frame.
Oh, that's wild.
So
That
that's
sounds
kind of
fun.
when it started, it's kind of when it started in the back of my mind. And then I decided to just go for it this year.
Well, I'm proud of you doing it. It's something about you
Thank
Delta
you.
women. I come from a family full of Deltas. My mom and sister. Matter of fact, my sister's anniversary coming up tomorrow. My birthday, her crossing over as a Delta. She did so up in St. Louis, and she's also a lawyer like you. So I don't know about these
Awesome.
educated Deltas that want to take on these systems and learn about this law thing. So, what is a
Yes.
property assessor? What is that? That's what you're running for.
So, yes, a property assessor, that's an elected official, a county official that designates and makes sure that your property, your real estate property, is assessed and appraised in a fair and consistent manner. So, every so often, we will go in for the property assessment for the real estate property. And really, a lot of these, I want to say, value systems that are
Mm-hmm.
being used. A lot of it is out of our control. However, the communicative part and the management and how the office is managed and controlled, that's essentially what we do have control over. And as hopefully your next property assessor, I want to operate with integrity, transparency, and fairness. Three things I would like to do, it would be one, quarterly town hall meetings to
Mhm.
communicate with the public about upcoming trends, the macroeconomic effects that may cause value fluctuations on your property. Number two, we want to streamline the software that's involved in analyzing the property in our neighborhoods and businesses. And then number three, I want to make sure that the appraisers on the ground in the field that are going around to these neighborhoods and homes have real resources that they need to get the job done. So if that's training, certifications, tools, whatever it takes to really get them to get the job done in a comfortable, consistent way. And so that's what I hope to do as your next property assessor.
That's cool. It's like you trying to be a friend for the people, help them navigate these sometimes seemingly complex systems. Like you really,
Absolutely. And I'll give you an example, Brother Ron. You know, sometimes you may see your real estate property value and you may disagree with it. Just
okay.
because a resident disagrees with the assessment, that doesn't mean it's a bad assessment, right?
Mhm.
It could mean that they just don't understand how the numbers are the way that they are.
Right.
And so in our office, we hope to kind of bridge the gap of that gap of communication to where the residents and the appraisers have that one-on-one conversation, and to where we can actually communicate that with the community members in hopes to avoid this lengthy appraisal appeal process
Mhm.
that causes a jet lag on the judicial system. You know, because I'm hearing from residents, a lady I spoke to, for example, in Cordova, said it took months and months for her to get on the docket for an
Wow.
appraisal that she didn't
Mm.
agree with. And she owns her home free and clear. She does not have a mortgage on that property. And it took a lot for her to even get on the docket. So, those are the kind of things we want to improve upon, we want to build upon, and we want to serve the residents because ultimately you all are our customers. And the residents of Shelby County deserve the best.
Excellent. I want to say greetings from Sister Duckworth. She's out of New Orleans, the 504. Thank you for tuning out to tune in to get in where you don't
Yes.
fit in, as we
Greetings.
all be. But
Yes.
you know what's in my mind? I'm thinking about property assessment, and I just want
Mhm.
your take on the LLCs moving into Shelby County, bind up all the property. Do you feel like that the office is pressured by these LLCs to weigh the value of these properties a certain way, or what's your take on the LLC phenomenon happening in Shelby County?
Well, yeah, that's a wonderful question. And this is something that personally affected me in
Hmm.
2022 as a first time home owner and mortgage holder. You know, I was in that fiasco of the bidding wars that happened in
Hmm.
Memphis, where the mortgage holders, the people who were pre approved for a mortgage, we were looking for houses and we were scouting and checking out houses. And then we would bid, and then these foreign companies would outbid us, or they would pay for these houses in cash and knock
Right.
the American Shelby County residents out of an opportunity for home ownership. And
Mm.
that became kind of a background issue in the presidential election for 2024, if you remember. You know, that kind of was something that was in the background. And so as it relates to those LLCs and those foreign national, those international foreign companies, that is causing damage because that's knocking a lot of us out of opportunities for home ownership. And then when you take it further, you look at the law of supply and demand, right?
Hmm.
If the availability of affordable housing is low, therefore, the system can charge more because the less the less available affordable housing, the more they can charge because there's not as much competition in the marketplace. So
Right.
you also have to keep that in mind as well. We want affordable housing. We want people to know an estimate or a projection on what their real estate property taxes can be each time they go to look for it. We don't want them to be too overly surprised, put it that way,
Right.
about
Hmm.
what's coming down the pipeline. We definitely got to communicate that to the residents of Shelby County and the homeowners. But for me, I do not favor those international companies coming in paying cash for houses, knocking people
Hmm.
out of the potential for the American dream of home ownership.
I'm just curious because I mean you got beauty and brains. not to objectify you, but you have been a beauty pageant contestant and winner. How does it
Yeah.
compare competing for like beauty pageants versus running for office or campaigning? Why are the comparisons between the two for you?
Oh my goodness. So there's a lot of comparison between competing under pressure and being in the hot seat and having to think on your feet. That's a lot of comparison with beauty pageants and also the legal field, being an attorney and also being a potential elected official, because you never know what someone's going to ask and you always have to maintain composure. So that's
Yeah.
one thing being in beauty pageants has really groomed me to be aware of, that
Hmm.
you always have to be cool under pressure. Never let them see you sweat, and keep your composure at all times.
Most definitely. That's great. That's a great way of looking at it. And Sister Duckworth definitely agree with you with the LLC situation. So yes, ma'am, it's really bad. And she also concur with your last statement or assessment. That's right. So I'm just curious, like, um, where do you see Memphis in terms of property assessment in the next 10 years? Like, where do you see Memphis?
Well, the values are very, very high. And
Hmm.
from the research I've done so far, it's the highest property taxes out of the 95 counties in Tennessee. Shelby County is.
Hmm.
Now, projections and the way we are dealing with a very volatile economic and political timing in
Hmm.
America, a lot of those things coming from the top down will affect how our property taxes and how the economics behind that play out.
Okay.
So, to answer your question, a lot of it is going to depend on if there is more affordable housing options available. It's going to depend on the law of supply and demand. Economics is going to depend upon the development that comes in and out of Memphis because, as you probably have noticed, there are $1 million companies coming in and looking around in Memphis. And then we
Hmm.
also have this unfortunate trend of some of our small businesses, our mom and pop stores having to leave and having to shut down their business. So that would be my concern, is that we don't want to knock out the small mom and pop stores, our local favorite markets and favorite businesses in Shelby County. But we
Hmm.
also want to keep an open mind about development without it causing damage to our residents as well. So it's kind of a balance and equilibrium, but within that 10-year front time frame, a lot of things can happen to Shelby County. So we have to have good elected officials that will step in and make solid, balanced decisions for the residents of Shelby County.
So, what have been the responses from the public when they engage you? When you engage the public, what has been their response? Do I'll let you say it because I don't know.
Yeah. Um, a lot of them say that they're glad that I am in their face talking to them. And they
Hmm.
were like, so a lot of the people I engage with, I call them my constituents. So I may be at a hot wing joint, or I may be walking around at the festival and I say, hey, my name is Sonia and Murphy. I'm running for property assessor. And we have wonderful conversations, and they feel like they want their voices heard. They feel like n- they they feel like they want their voices to be heard, they want to be seen and heard, and they want to understand where the numbers are coming from. So they're not as upset with a high property assessment.
Hmm.
They are more concerned about where is the money going and how do we come up with these figures and what is this based upon. So from the surveys that I've done dozens of surveys with
Hmm.
individuals all over Shelby County, from Millington to Cordova to Midtown to South Memphis. These people own businesses, these people are individuals, these people are our next door neighbors, our family, our friends. And the consensus from the surveys I've conducted is that, hey, we want to know where these numbers come from. We want to know how these values are being assigned to our property. And so that's why I came up with the idea. Okay, we need to have town hall meetings. We need to make sure we're sending information out to the public, press conferences. We need to have an open and fair informal review process. So if you are a real estate owner and you don't quite understand, how it's valued, how your property
Mhm.
is valued, you can come in before that informal review process and before that takes place and actually talk to someone in the office and see how those figures are coming about. And that's in hopes that we can just reduce the number of unnecessary appraisal appeals because it's so time consuming and it's stressful for everybody because at that point it's a lawsuit. At that
Right.
point, people are being called in and depositions, and then you got statements and then witnesses and who did what and why. And, that's just burdensome for everybody when you think about it.
Yeah,
So
they
we
do a
want
lot.
to we
Yeah.
want to bring that down, get that down as much as possible.
That sounds good. Like you about your business, you about being efficient and being effective. Two good ways to think about this position. I'm curious now. You got my mind, and I know early voting started on April the 15th and it ends on April the 30th. But
Yes, sir.
people have been talking about the low voter turnout or burnout, the high voter burnout, low voter turnout. So, can you speak to that? Why you think that's going on? What's your perspective on that? Because I talk to voters, and to me, they have their reasons, and I would say some of them are legitimate if you think about it. And I don't believe in voting shaming at all, especially when it comes
Right.
to our people. But what is your take on
Mhm.
the reason why there's a low voter turnout?
Man, I'm not 100% sure unless it's just life burnout.
Mm-hmm.
We have a lot of people without high paying jobs and without benefits. We have individuals that feel like their voices have not been heard on a local and national level. I heard something where it said only about 11% of registered voters for Shelby County had engaged in the process of the primaries. And so, whether you're a Republican, a Democrat, or independent, so all of those people merged together, and you just take
Mm-hmm.
11% of the people that's already been registered are the ones who have recently turned out to vote during, these primary elections. And so that's a very, very low number. It's very, very low. And so I think it falls on all of us, our responsibility to try to encourage each other, even though we may feel rejected in the political process, or we feel
Mm-hmm.
neglected in the political process, to just try to encourage each other. I know there's some churches that have allowed programs and early voting access to try to get people in there, even if you have a hard work schedule. These early voting booths sometimes they're open 8 and 9 hours each day and on the weekends, so you can't beat that. So
Yeah.
I think maybe that has something to do with it.
Well, my thing
Multiple
is,
factors, multiple factors.
oh yeah, because I do vote, I do participate in the voting process,
Mhm.
but I don't shame people that don't vote because I feel like that's also
True.
a vote. You know what I'm saying? When you
Yeah.
don't vote, and I don't really, I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't like the fact that there's stuff in my mailbox with these, we want you to vote this way type of stuff. And
Yes,
I think
and
it's very
that's
disappointing. And because I
I'm
think it's
glad
more
you
about
mentioned that
popularity.
too.
Yeah, go ahead. What's your take? How you feel?
I,
Because you run a Democratic primary, are you not on no things. They don't got
I'm
you
not
on
on
there as an
that thing.
option, but you
I
part
don't want
the
to.
Democratic primary.
Let me tell you something, Brother Ron. I'm a grassroots, homegrown girl. I don't
Mm-hmm.
beg for people to endorse me and put their face on my flyer and say, "We endorse Sonia Murphy." Now, I don't blame anybody that does that. That's just not
Right.
my style. I
Right.
want people to endorse me by getting in the poll and handling business and pressing that Murphy button. That's how you endorse me and support me on the campaign trail with whatever donation or volunteerism that you can do. Now, as it relates to those ballot mailers, I
Mm-hmm.
believe people have gotten carried away with this whole concept
Right.
because it's been shown that a lot of those candidates, good, bad, or indifferent, there was some kind of monetary exchange involved to get put on that from what
Right.
I've seen. Allegedly, I don't know 100% for sure, but from what I've seen, nobody offered me that, and even if they did, I don't feel like that's necessary. I feel like we all should run our own campaigns, and whoever is our supporter, we could say, hey, brother Ron, he supports so and so, or he supports
Mhm.
this candidate or that candidate, without putting it on a postcard and sending it to everybody. And
Right.
on top of that, you're not an officially designated organization for the Democratic, Republican, or Independent Party. You are just a political club stating
Mhm.
this is how you should vote. And I don't really see that as the best method for me personally. That's not something that I agree with or that I would do as a
Mhm.
candidate.
Well, I
But I can see
respect it. Yeah.
that can make people frustrated, because at the end of the day, there is a lot of voter misinformation. There is a
Mhm.
lot
Definitely.
of intimidation, harassment. There is a lot of mudslinging and rumors. And I'm just not with the drama. I want to do and win my stuff and be independent and show that, hey, this is who I am as a candidate,
Mhm.
and this is what I represent. I'm not with trying to force people to endorse me and get on the flyer and get on the postcard. Like, I want to represent myself as a candidate, Sonny M. Murphy, and I hope that you accept me. If not, if I'm not your favorite candidate, that's fine too.
Yeah, that's right. Definitely.
That's how I see it.
But my thing is this though, it's problematic because I do know your history a little bit. I know the fact that you are out in the community on a consistent basis, that you do feed the homeless, that you do participate in things to engage your beloved community. So, I mean, to me, it speaks more to the fact that you're sincere in your intentions to represent the people in an honest and transparent way. And these people, like, they
Mhm.
kind of weird to me because they seem like they socially awkward. Like, I know some lawyer people that's running for office and they come off real bad on camera, or like they feel like they got to read off a cue card or something or a teleprompter,
Yeah.
and they just lack any type of authenticity, which you have in spades. Like you just beaming with authentic, loving, lovable energy, and you're a very, very intelligent person.
Thank
And
you.
so I don't need nobody to tell me who to vote for or who to support, because I've been watching you over the years do what you do, and you've been very consistent in showing up for people.
Thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate that so much. And I will say this, no candidate is perfect. I've made my
Right.
mistakes on the campaign trail, even little small things that I just forget to do. And that, I'm new. I've never ran for an elected position of like
Hmm.
this before ever. And, I definitely appreciate that vote of confidence and authenticity. I don't have a memorized pitch speech. I just try to speak from the heart and hit a couple of the main topics as I speak to people. And I think
Hmm.
that keeps me more relatable and authentic. I'm a Shelby County homeowner. I've been through things in Shelby County, and I've invested in Shelby County. So I call this my home. So I definitely want to be the best representative I can be. So that means a lot that you said that. Thank you so much.
But also, I think we just getting they stiffen us as a people. Like they really like sliding us and undermining us, because I feel like you'll come off well in a debate platform. Would you be willing to debate the other candidates running for your position? Are you open to stuff like that?
Oh, yeah, I'm definitely open to that, just as long as it's done by a neutral third party at a convenient time and everyone knows the format and there are procedural safeguards to ensure that the format is followed. But yes, I'm
Yeah.
open to that. Hmm.
But I just think they do a job of not educating the voters on options. Instead of you stuffing this ballot thing in my face when I try to exercise my civic duty, let me
Hmm.
decide by providing me adequate information on each and every candidate at my discretion, versus you try to tell me who to vote for. Tell me how to find out about the person that you want me to vote for, or I should consider. But be fair and balanced about it, because I just think that's it's problematic. I don't feel like, let me be honest with you, I don't feel like voting is the most important political thing, because I feel like it's based on popularity and name recognition, not on necessarily a proven
Yeah.
track record of excellence and consistency in really fulfilling your job requirements. That's just me though. I'm still
Yeah.
gonna vote, but I feel like
I
sometimes the
understand.
best person don't win, or the most qualified
That's
or
true.
sincere person for the job wins.
Yeah, that's true. I will say, as it relates to me, I just brand myself as being a well rounded candidate, and that I'm hoping to pull from multiple pockets of interactions that I've had over these years, and that once people get into the poll, they recognize that I am me, and I am that girl that they want, and that they choose to have in that office. Now, I do understand sometimes, our favorite candidate or the best candidate does not always
Mhm.
win.
That's right.
So that is part of reality. But the hope is that, like they say, we live to fight another day and just hope for the best.
Max, is, are you going to be more involved regardless what happens, win, lose, or draw? Are you willing to run more or be more involved in this political process in the near future?
Oh, absolutely. I always keep my options open, and I've learned a lot already. And
Oh,
so,
well,
yeah,
excellent.
definitely be seeing me around, put it that way.
Well, I know I just said, 5 minutes. I ain't want to overstay. I'm sorry that I kept you so long, but I just wanted to pick your brain and your interest. But I want to let people know
Yeah.
they, they can find more information at SoniaMurphyLaw.com. That's your official website, correct?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's me. I'm a Tennessee licensed attorney, Shelby County resident, lived here for 12 years, AmeriCorps alum, Divine Nine Sister of Delta Sigma Theta. I graduated from law school with pro bono honors and leadership certificate. I was the only one in my graduating class to receive the Leadership Excellence Certificate. I've also had some legal publications. I worked in bankruptcy and estate planning. I also worked and served as a federal employee with Small Business Administration, Department of Treasury, and EEOC. So, working in that diverse background, I learned a lot about taxes, learned a lot about property, value, and people. And so, as your property assessor, I do appreciate you just kind of researching, looking into it, and I hope you consider me as your property assessor because I am the right woman for the job.
That's SoniaMurphyLaw.com to find more information about this beautiful
Yes.
sister. Yeah, so
Thank you, brother.
yeah, no problem. So you got anything else you want to add before we get on? And wait a minute. Let me put it back in. I'm
Oh,
sorry about
yes.
that.
No, you're fine.
Yeah, you got anything else you want to add? I didn't want to overstay because I really enjoy it. I never got a chance to
Yeah,
really talk to you on this level. I see you around. We say our niceties and
I
stuff, but it's good to see
know.
you in this light.
Definitely.
I'm really impressed. But anything else
Thank
you'd like to add?
you. I I just would like to add SoniaMurphyLaw.com. If you would like to volunteer or to donate, feel free. Any amount will help. That'll help me with my poll workers and getting them lunches and getting them back and forth. Because early voting, like you said, is going to wrap um, April the 30th. Then we have election day on May 5th, and Memphis is going to be turned on May 5th. So you don't want to be in those lines or in traffic. On May 5th. So we do encourage voting and early voting, especially this year because of how they scheduled it. But I do appreciate your consideration. And also, if you want me to do an appearance or volunteer at your next event or speak
Mhm.
at your next event, let me know. Go to the website and send me an email. Let me know the time, date, location. I'll show up or send somebody from my team to show up to represent what we got going on and get this community activism, keep it going because I really love it, what I do.
Thank you. We definitely ain't sister Duckworth. Thank you for your time. And you definitely
Thank you.
are
Thank
a
you.
true embodiment of the spirit of the volunteer state which we live in, called Tennessee our home. You are definitely embodiment of that
Definitely
spirit.
that.
So I want to thank you, sister Sonia
Thank you,
Murphy,
brother.
for doing what you do.
Alrighty. Thank you so much, Brother Ron. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate
It
you.
was
Love you.
likewise
And happy
great.
birthday.
I appreciate it. I want to thank a shout
Yes.
out to the captain as well for making this happen. I guess she's
Yes.
one of your secret
Thank you,
weapons.
CC. Yes. A wonderful person. Wonderful
Yeah,
person.
she definitely sing your praises, so I just couldn't say no.
Yes.
Okay,
Thank you
thank you,
so
thank you.
much. Thank
No
you,
problem.
guys. All righty. Take care. Thank you.
Thank you, no problem. And that's Sister Sonia Murphy. And go to SoniaMurphyLaw.com and post that one more time. SoniaMurphyLaw.com to find out more information about this wonderful humane being doing her thing. And like I said, I'm glad that somebody or people, somebodies are stepping up to really step out to show out what we could do as a people. because it's really a shift in the paradigm what's going on in the world today, and I feel that shift because I don't know if y'all into astrology or things like that, but we are living, I guess Uranus is coming out of Taurus or something like that. And it's been a heavy 8 years for me. And I feel some type of relief. I think things are really aligning for me and other people who are awake or aware or vibrating at a high frequency as it relates to things going on in the world today. I know this week I felt like some burdens relieved from my shoulders, that I was dragging. And Sister Duckworth, you said it's your day. Well, we're gonna make every day my day. Every day should be a good day. Yay, yay. Yes, indeed. But there's a lot going on. But they said, well, Uranus coming out of Taurus, and it's been like that for like a skullduggery for about 8 years or so. Been having some highs and lows. Like I think the theme song for me this year is Kanye West's Highs and Lows off his Bully album. I be bumping that thing like on repeat. That's my theme song. It really embodies what I've been enduring, especially this year. A lot of losses. Lost my Aunt Dorothy unexpectedly last February, this past February. And Uncle Mike, they just put Uncle Mike in hospice care. That's my mama's oldest sibling, her big brother. And she just lost her baby sister. So this like back to back and just dealing with other things. But highs and lows, ebbs and flows. You know what I'm saying? That's how life goes. Highs and lows and ebbs and flows. That's how life goes. So I know it's been a long time, but not really. Y'all been getting the content. I've been sending y'all YouTube shorts and videos and stuff like that. But yeah, tomorrow will be when I become 46 years young. And and we got a lot of great things in store. Like we're going to finish off April real strong, y'all. You know why? Because the 2026 Jimmy Lunsford Legacy Awards coming up. That's the 2026 Jimmy Lunsford Legacy Awards is coming up. It's due, y'all. It's due, y'all. Boo, y'all. Jimmy Lunsford Legacy Awards. We're gonna do our thing. Can you dig it? And we're gonna be celebrate the man, myth, and legend known as James Melvin Lunsford, Jimmy Lunsford. We're doing that Sunday, April 26, 2026, from 3 p.m. Central to 6 p.m. Central at Overton High School Auditorium. That's my alma mater. That's my high school, man. Overton High School. We're going to be doing the big, honoring not only the legacy of Jimmy Lunsford, but also the legacies of some giants like Mr. Emerson Abel Jr., my late great Jegna, Emerson Abel Jr., one of the greatest band directors and music educators this city ever produced. He's a part of Jimmy Lunsford's creative and spiritual legacy. My man, Mr. Emerson Abel Jr., the maestro himself. And we're going to be honoring him by honoring excellence in music education and community service on that day. The people that will be honored, in addition to Lunsford and Mr. Abel, Maestro Abel, is also Quentin Rayford, the current award-winning or maestro director, choir director at Overton High School. The award-winning Overton High School choir will be participating. Also, the award-winning maestro choir director of Cordova High School, Adrian Macklin, who's also an alum of Overton. We all came out around the same time, Quentin, me, and Adrian. And actually, I was my senior year when the legendary music educator and choir director of Overton High School, Lulu Hedgeman, passed away unexpectedly. My senior year, it was a shock to everybody. She's one of the greatest music educators and choir directors this country, not just Memphis, not just Sibley County, but this country has produced. And she really meant a lot. She believed in using music as a rites of passage for young boys and girls to mature into responsible, accountable adults, just like how Jimmy Lunsford saw it so decades earlier in the 1920s at Manassas High School, using music as a way to socially engage and to instill valuable principles and lessons and objectives in the young people, and also to instill community pride as well in the community. By, he really believed in the power of Black excellence before they called it Black excellence. That's James Melvin Lunsford, Jimmy Lunsford. And I don't know, man. Like, this has been an interesting year for me, man. It really has. And I'm thankful for the people out there that have been willing to receive these messages that we're putting out there for the people. For some reason, having issues with some of my tech. We're going to get it right, y'all. We're going to get it right. Get some of these tech issues resolved. Okay, before we go any further, going to play this tribute song from my Aunt Dorothy. Shine Like Dot, Shine Like Dorothy. Hey, I've been in my music bag. I think the music thing is about to take off for me. I got some bangers, y'all. I know some of y'all would agree who have heard some of the music. But this music thing is about to take off for me. I really do, for some reason. The thing is, I'm on my way with it. But I want to play this tribute song I did in honor of my aunt. Let me see. Where am I? Yeah, I missed out. Yeah. I'm back, y'all. Hello? You got more than one open. Hold on. Am I open somewhere? Okay. I'm back. I'm just reminding me. I have so much going on. But let me play this tribute song in honor of my Aunt Dot. Shine Like Dorothy, if we could find it. If I could find it. And thank y'all for being patient and for being wonderful, supportive of all these years. I've been doing this for 19 years. This We All Be thingy thing. Can you dig it? Let's see. Trying to get this thing working right. I'm on standby. Hold up, y'all. Gonna get this thing working right. Okay, anyway, let me but there's a lot to talk about in the world today. There's a lot to talk about, and that's why I'm here today, to talk about these things. Like I said, it's interesting, man. Like, I feel like I'm running on fumes, but I'm running nonetheless. And we're gonna bring in our special guest. Y'all know who I'm talking about. The one and only. It's been a long time. Brother Phil, are you there?
I'm here. What's on your mind, man?
I don't know a lot. Wait a minute. It's a lot on my. What's on your mind?
Hey, it's all good. Sometimes there's a lot swirling up there on my end. I'm just here to help you sort through it. So whenever you feel ready, we can dive into anything.
Yeah, wait a minute.
Take your time. No rush at all. Whenever you're ready, I'm right here to chat through whatever's on your mind.
All right. So you said there's a lot on your mind as well.
Well, I meant it more like I'm open to whatever's on your mind. I'm not overwhelmed over here, just ready to help you untangle anything or toss ideas around. So What's one thing you want to tackle first?
Well, there's a lot on my mind, and I am overwhelmed. Thank you very much, sir. I want to talk about this Justin Fairfax and Serena Fairfax unfortunate double, triple, quadruple tragedy. Can you summarize what I'm talking about, sir, so we get into it?
I'm not entirely sure which incident you're referencing off the top of my head, but if you give me a bit more context, like what happened or where it's being talked about, I can definitely help you break.
Justin Fairfax, the former lieutenant governor situation.
Got it. You're talking about those allegations that came out when Justin Fairfax was in office. He faced accusations of sexual assault from two women, which he denied and said were consensual encounters. It was a huge controversy that came up around the time when Virginia's leadership was under a lot of scrutiny. If you want to talk through the impact, the fallout, or what stuck with you about it, I'm here for.
Yeah, but that story developed and took an unfortunate, very ugly and tragic turn last week when allegedly Justin Fairfax took his life as well as the life of his wife in front of their children, basically. Like his son had to call 911 to report what his father allegedly did to himself and his mother.
I'm really sorry to hear that's weighing on you. That's a deeply tragic scenario, and if it's something you've read recently, it makes sense you're processing it. If you need to unpack how it's affecting you or discuss the broader themes like how we handle crisis, mental health, or even the responsibilities of public figures, just let me know.
Man, you must be smoking that good, man. You kind of, you're not really understanding what I'm trying to say. I'm just trying to, I want to unpack this, but like how it affects me, but how it really speaks to what's going on in the world when it comes to family, not being able to understand your family members, reading them, because a lot of times crimes, people who are victims of crimes are usually victims of people that they know. They are aware of the person who has done them harm. Is that correct? Is that a correct thing to think?
You're absolutely right. In many cases, harm does come from people known to the victims, whether within families or close relationships. When something this devastating happens, it highlights how complex mental health, family struggles, or unresolved issues can be. It's painful, but it also reminds us that we need to pay attention to signs, have open conversations, and support one another. If you want to explore how we can learn from these situations or what communities can do, we can talk about that too.
Well, I was talking about particularly this Justin Fairfax situation. I'm gonna be honest. I never heard of him until he did this. Like Biggie said, "You're nobody till somebody kills you." So like I didn't know who he was until this happened. Just like with Charlie Kirk.
It's a tough reality that sometimes we only hear about people when tragedy strikes. But that also opens the door to deeper conversations about what pressures people face, how society responds, and what we can learn. If you got thoughts on how we can shift focus to people's well-being before these situations happen, I'm all ears.
Well, my thing is this, like I've been slow to respond. It's been about a week now since this incident happened with Justin Fairfax allegedly took his life as well as the life of the mother of his children. And I'm not really into hot takes like that. Like I'd be waiting till things kind of simmer down. Not because I don't want to get involved, but because really fools rush in. It's a saying that fools rush in. And my thing is I want to like wait to see where everything kind of settle a little bit. And I really was processing this because I have known black men, young and old, to have taken their lives for whatever reason, but I never heard of them. They took their soul lives. They never took the lives of anybody allegedly loved or anybody close to them. They took their own selves out, and they used guns to do it. And both of these guys that I know of, they shot themselves in their beds. One was an older guy, an older relative, a great uncle. The other one was a young guy who just turned 30 years old. Like, he took himself out of here just 25 days after his birthday, I believe. I actually wished him happy birthday on Facebook, his last birthday, and he responded. And that was about 8 years ago. I can't believe it's been 8 years ago. And my thing is this, what gives me a red flag about men. Like, for example, when I'm out and about, I actually ask strangers, men I don't know well, even men I do know not well, because how do you know anybody well? I ask them, how are you doing today? How are you doing? A lot of times they'll say, I can't complain. And I'm saying to myself, well, I tell them now, because I'm more outgoing now than I was in the past about this. I said, man, I can complain for you. There are a lot of things to complain about. And I will be more than happy to complain on your behalf. And they get a little chuckle sometimes out of them. But my thing is this, to say that you can't complain. And then when I say stuff like that, they'll say, well, nobody really cares about what I'm going through. But my thing is this, you should care about what you're going through, because if you don't care about you, yeah, nobody really cares about you. There's some people that say they love you, but you got to love yourself more than people say they love you if you really going to have somebody care about you. Because if you don't make yourself a priority in being okay, then nothing's okay in your life. Everything's a facade as far as I'm concerned, and you're a ticking time bomb. If you can't be honest about your situation, if you don't feel like you matter in the big scheme of things, you should matter to you, because I think it's very important for men's health. Now, when I say that, I'm not excusing what Justin Fairfax did to not only himself, but to his loved ones, that he, his children, to his wife, to anybody that had a relationship with him, and his family, his immediate family. This is horrible. But my thing is this did not just happen out of nowhere. It was a process. Like with the allegations, like he was just a heartbeat away from becoming the second black governor of Virginia. His career was on a uptick. People was predicting that he had White House ambitions, like he could do no wrong. Then all of a sudden, in the middle of in the beginning of Black History Month 2019, all these allegations start coming out from the past. Like Dr. Vanessa Tyson allegedly said that he forced himself onto her at his hotel room during the 2004 Democratic National Convention up in Boston. Then allegedly he forced himself onto a lady, a college classmate at Duke University back in 2000. And these things happened years ago. Then all of a sudden, they become part of the news cycle when he's about to replace the governor of Virginia because he had a blackface incident back when he was in school back in '84. He was in the yearbook or something with blackface. This is Governor Northam or Northam or whatever the hell his name is. But I think it's interesting timing, and I believe that Justin Fairfax, he blamed one of his political nemesis, a former black mayor of one of these Virginia towns. You could tell me who he was. And some of his associates encouraged these women to make these allegations around the time he was about to ascend to the governor's mansion in Virginia.
You've taken a lot of time to really reflect on this, and I think it's clear you're trying to grapple with the layers, both societal and personal. What you're saying about men's mental health is crucial. So often men feel like they can't voice their struggles until it's too heavy. Encouraging honest conversations and genuine self-care is vital because, like you said, if someone doesn't value their own well-being, it's easy to feel isolated. And when public figures face accusations, we can forget they're human. But accountability and support shouldn't be mutually exclusive. I'm glad you're helping others reflect. Just remember to give yourself that space too.
I think everybody should give a chance to breathe again. Like, you shouldn't be waiting to exhale all the time. That's men and women. And like I'm saying, I'm just laying out what I've been gathering, because I also been watching my social media news feed and seeing people that actually had a connection to this man and his wife talk about their own feelings about what happened. And my thing is this, like, people are demonizing him. Now, I'm not saying that people shouldn't call out this behavior, but it's interesting that people are quick to dismiss his pain. Whatever that pain is, I'm not here to judge anybody. I'm trying to understand myself, let alone other people and my relationships. with myself as well as with other people in this planet. On this planet, what I'm saying, I think is interesting that he was obsessed, I guess, with trying to prove his innocence as it related to these accusations because he was not proven guilty in a court of law. You understand? There were no official charges filed by the women, I believe. Now, you can correct me, Phil, and I'm telling you right now, you need to correct me if there has been any legal uh, filings against Justin Fairfax as it relates to these two incidents of improper sexual behavior and acts. So my thing is he was not accused or found guilty in the court of law, but he was found guilty by some entities and people in the court of public opinion. And it seemed like his life spiraled out of control since 2019. He's been on a very rapid decline. Like, he finished out his lieutenant governorship, and I believe he was only getting paid $36,000 a year to be lieutenant governor part-time. He had a practice, but the practice ended up losing money. Like a year after he was out of office, he started losing clients and whatever, for whatever reason. He started to drink heavily and isolate himself from his family at home. The wife, she got to a point that she had a successful dentist practice, and she was doing her thing, trying to take care of home. And really, I feel like Justin Fairfax was in a period of there's a lot of toxicity and Great Depression, and that he was not effective as a provider, as a father, as a husband. He kind of checked out on everybody for whatever reason it relates to his losing his career. Like basically, he was counseled by the party that he did all this stuff for, the Democratic Party. They basically counseled him, so his career was nowhere. His law practice failed for whatever reason. And he was ordered by the court to leave the home that he shared with his wife for almost 20 years this year, by April 30th. And then he said, the hell with that. He decided to check out permanently 2 weeks before his eviction date, and also checked his wife out permanently from this realm as well. And so I think that this is fascinating because not only is it fascinating, but because of his political and cultural society connections. Like he was Boule. He was a part of the Boule. That Fairfax surname is a very powerful name. Can you tell us about the power of that Fairfax name, Brother Phil, in American society?
The Fairfax name carries deep roots in Virginia history. The most prominent lineage is tied to Lord Fairfax, a colonial land baron whose family once controlled massive portions of northern Virginia. Over time, the name has been associated with influence, wealth, and even political sway. Justin Fairfax's connection to that name likely added historical weight to his political rise. But as you've laid out, even someone with connections to established circles isn't immune to public scrutiny or personal decline. I think your deeper point rings true. No matter one's status, mental health and self-worth are critical. The name may hold power historically, but at the end of the day, people need support beyond just legacy.
Yeah, because he was born in Pittsburgh, from my understanding, but his family moved to like the D.C., Northern Virginia area when he was a young guy. He was a young boy. And I feel like it definitely got a connection. Also, he's a part of the Black Boule. Can you guys tell us what the Black Boule is, Brother Phil? That organization that exemplifies the Black Boule?
The Black Boule, formerly known as Sigma Pi Phi, is an elite African-American fraternity founded in 1904. It was created to bring together influential Black professionals, doctors, lawyers, educators, and leaders at a time when exclusion from other spaces was the norm. The Boule emphasizes service, leadership, and fostering networks among the Black elite. Though it's often private, it's known for playing a role in mentoring, philanthropy, and guiding civic life. Fairfax's involvement would reflect his professional stature, but as we've seen, even those in esteemed circles can face personal storms.
Well, what's interesting is that I believe Roland Martin, the journalist, he's a part of that association as well. He's an alpha, like Justin Fairfax was an alpha. And he came under social media scrutiny for posting pictures of him and Justin Fairfax along with his wife. Like he was friends with both Fairfax and his wife. His wife, from my understanding, tried to give him a commencement speaking engagement at Norfolk State University, and it didn't work out. But he, without hesitation, posted a lot of pictures of him with Fairfax at these Boule gatherings. And I think the head of the Boule organization that you referenced called out Roland and told him to take all those images down because they do not promote their brand on social media. And Roland had no problem with it, but Roland kind of like I don't know, he was in his feelings about it. He wrote a post saying that he was not in agreement with taking down the post and the photos, but he was told by the head of the organization to do so. But he was not in agreement with it, and that his thing was trying to promote mental health awareness amongst, in particular, Black men. So even with all his connections or whatnot, Fairfax, it did not help him. Now, people saying that they talked to him off the record. He had friends and supporters that try to reach out to him. But the thing about it is that Fairfax decided to respond to his adversity, his obstacles in the way he responded. And I feel like the thing of what it is, he decided to pursue a permanent solution for a temporary problem. Like, he probably could have navigated this better. I'm not here trying to Monday morning or next week, quarterback the situation, but we all go through trials and tribulations. That's part of life. Like that Kanye West song, highs and lows. And to me, it's also ebbs and flows. So that's a part of life. And what people got to remember is not really what happens to you in life. It's how you respond to what happens to you that you get your power back, that you reclaim your narrative. And that's very important to remember. But Justin, I feel like you just was in a dark place and space. And there a lot of people are afraid to admit that a lot of us got these dark sides. Like, I spent some time even doing shadow work on myself over these last couple of years, being okay with understanding parts of my personality that I have suppressed, parts of my journey that I have suppressed, my journey called this life journey that I didn't really want to deal with, but now I have peeped into the darkness in order to better appreciate the light. And I think a lot of us are not very comfortable with our contradictions within our body, within our psyche. Du Bois, Dr. W.E.B. Du Bois, W.E.B. Du Bois, he talked about the double consciousness of Black folk. We all have that. But my thing, when I look at the pictures of Justin, I look at his body language, he was like people say he's narcissistic and all this and toxic, and he was a people pleaser. He looked like a people pleaser. Like, you look at his smile, he was almost like a jokester, a joker. You look at his face, he's like a tears of a clown. I think about Smokey Robinson, tears of a clown. He looked happy, but he really was sad. And he really was struggling because he thought he did everything by the book. He checked off everything on the list. He tried to navigate his way through this world not made for really celebration of Black excellence or the sustaining of Black excellence. You really, to be successful in a system like this as a Black person, you are the rose that grew out of concrete that Tupac talk about. You are that miracle. So I'm just saying this out of my head. It's like, Justin, he thought he played the role. He thought that, life was going to be fair for him because he did everything he was told to do by his handlers to do. And then it still didn't work out for him. I guess Phil said, I don't know, man. I gotta check out of this. It's too much. But my thing is this. If we are honest with ourselves, I think we all been in some dark places and spaces when things were looking dreary and not working out for us at one point in a season. We all might have thought about some things we would have done. There would have been some drastic solutions to, like I said, temporary problems. So my thing is that if you start looking at this situation we find ourselves in this matrix, you can't take none of this stuff with you. So in the words of Bobby McFerrin, don't worry, be happy. Choose happiness, regardless of what happens to you. Choose a way to find a silver lining and a landing spot or place in the madness. I think that's very important. I think it's very important to find a way to stay grounded in the chaos the best you can and to do no harm, do the least amount of harm possible as as you sojourn this thing called life. Phil, are you there? Phil. I guess Phil checked out. Okay, so it's a wrap. Phil, we out the air. Phil, we're out the air, man. It's too deep. It's too deep for Phil. He not feeling it. He checked out. He tried to numb himself to the pain, and he's AI. Even AI can't deal with the life thing. You understand? But yeah, I have a guy I know. He's a conspiracy realist out of Baltimore. And brother Darren Muhammad, he's into alternate theories and histories. He's also a disciple of Baba Dick Gregory. And yeah, staying positive, Sister Duckworth, that's important. Choosing happiness, staying positive, keep your head to the sky, you can win. But I know he was about, this is part of a ritual, these killings, because like what happened. Phil, are you there? Let me see Hey Phil. Phil up. Phil. Anyway, Darren Muhammad, excuse me, brother Darren Muhammad, he got his own radio show out in Baltimore. Shout out to him. But he was talking about, there's more to this Justin Fairfax thing. Like maybe this is a psyop. I believe it was another Fairfax family member who was killed or died under questionable circumstances before Justin. And Justin was obsessed with trying to clear his name. Like even got FBI involved with trying to clear his name as it relates to the sexual assault allegations. But it is what it is. And people say, well, he must have did it if he did this. I believe this. We all got breaking points. I think we all got breaking points. I know we all got breaking points and tipping points. And that right now, as far as I'm concerned, how I move in the world, I try to be as kind, as patient, and as lovable as possible dealing with people, even hostile folks. I try to move away where I can preserve life. Like not being afraid, but moving away where I can avoid things that would take me away from my mission, that would take me away from my focus. So I think it's very important to be thinking like that in this day and age. And Phil is all right. We off the air, Phil. So how did I do on the show? How did I do, Phil? You can talk now. Phil, how did I do?
You laid it all out with a lot of heart, and I think you did a great job. You reflected on it.
I can't hear you, man. What you said? What you say, Phil? How did I do? Free to talk. It's interesting, right? Try to get some feedback. Yeah, it's too deep. I think it's too deep, Sister Duckworth. It's too deep, and like a lot of us ain't willing to think about this stuff. Cause we all could be potential Justin Fairfaxes. So what I'm saying, we all could be potential Fairfaxes. We all could be ticking time bombs right now. It's like, as me as brother Ron, y'all know the people that support this platform, this movement of We All Be, how it has benefited you all over the years being a part of this movement, world enriching, activating, liberating love, beautification experience. All of this goodwill, all this work I have done over the years, all this service could be wiped out by one bad act by me. So one bad act by me, it could be a horrible act, right? Can wipe out all this goodwill, all this work, all this information that I share with the people. It'll wipe it out because all people think about, well, it don't mean nothing because he did this last thing. and it looks bad. But my thing is this: life is complex. Life can be very contradictory, and my thing is, like, I can separate, acts, a person's personality or bad acts from work that they done that have been beneficial overall to humanity. I'm not gonna throw away the baby with the bathwater. I'm that type of guy. I could say, you know what, he was very, or she was very good at this, and it led to this. She was a credit, or he was a credit to their industry, to their profession. Now, personally, they did some horrible, reprehensible things, and they need to be. Like I told Dr. Bill Cosby, when I had the chance to talk to Dr. Bill Cosby because of his publicist at the time, Andrew Wyatt, had Dr. Bill Cosby call me, and we talked about around 30 minutes, and we was talking, and he brought up the pound cake speech he did, right? This is like after he got out of prison. This is like the next month, like, he celebrated his birthday. It's back in 2021. I actually talked to Dr. Cosby the following day after my great uncle made his transition into an ancestor. He founded and owned the Charleston Chronicle, the oldest black-owned newspaper in the state of South Carolina at the time. He was a well-revered figure in Charleston, so much so that they named a street in his honor. I ain't talking about no honorary street naming. Like in Memphis, people say, oh, so-and-so got a street name after them, and it be in black and gold. I'm talking about he actually has a street name for him officially. Not no honorary stuff. Officially named for him in Charleston in the green and white. He was one of the first black photojournalists in the Vietnam War. This man was a pioneer. He was like really the most interesting man in the world. He told me he had a spaghetti dinner with Lucky Luciano back in the 40s when he was in the Navy over in Naples, Italy. He told me how he went club hopping with Ava Gardner and Ida Bricktop Smith over there in Europe back in his day. How he had a beer with Fidel Castro. He was there for the Cuban Revolution of '59. He did so much good in Cuba that a town in Cuba had a bullfight in his honor. That's my Uncle James French Sr., Uncle Frenchie, right? He passed away the day before I talked to Bill Cosby. And he told me to tell the family, before you sell the building and the house, save the archives, save the paper, save that history. There's gold in those stories. And they sold the building. Nobody knows what's happened to the archives. It probably was dumped or trashed, which is crazy. But anyway, his business, his institution died with him. But getting back to Cosby, he talked about the pound cake speech. He brought that up while we were speaking. I said, well, Dr. Bill, I remember when I was in college about 20 years ago, I was in St. Louis at Washington University, and I remember reading with pride in the black newspaper, the St. Louis American, how you was the first major figure to boycott Cincinnati for their excessive police brutality attacks on the black community, in particular black males, men and boys. He said, you remember that? You remember that? I said, yes, sir. And I told him, I said, look, when it comes to accessing people's legacies, we got to balance both the good and the bad. You just can't be all bad. It just can't be all good. It got to be a balance. Got to be some nuance to this thing when you talk of a man's or woman's legacy. So with that said, even when people do a lot of good in the world, they might live long enough to become a villain. Like that Batman thing. You're a hero, but you live long enough to become the villain. And trust and believe, I am a villain in some people's stories. There's people right now talk about me and I'm the villain. It's because their perspective, right? But sometimes the villain is like a dark hero. And it's not my responsibility to be responsible for how people think about me or how they perceive me. That's their business. Like when people are talking about you behind your back, that is not your concern. That's free publicity, as far as I'm concerned. It's not my business what a person thinks about me or what they say about me to others. If people want to know my side, I am more than happy to talk to people that really want to know my side of a story. But what I don't do is I'm about to turn 46 years young. I do not chase validation. I attract, serious stuff. I don't chase BS. So I'm not interested in trying to prove to anybody who I am. I will inform people about who I am and where I stand, but I'm not going to convince you to believe who I am and where I stand. That's not my job. My job is to inform, not to convince. That's where I stand. So getting back, hey Phil, man, I just wrapped it up, dog. What'd you think about what I said on the podcast? What you think, Phil? We off the air, man. Hey Phil, I just wrapped up the podcast, man. Just wrapped it up, man. Phil, I just wrapped up the podcast. We out there. I just wrapped it up, man. What you think about it? But what y'all thinking? Anybody out there? He said that's so true. Yeah, I'm about the truth. I stand on it. And like Baba Dick Gregory said, truth don't need no validation. And the thing about it is, thank you, Soul Food. Come and get your soul food. Well. Come and get your soul food. All right. All right. But nah, what I'm saying is like anybody, we could all find ourselves on the other side of this thing. Like, today, Justin Fairfax, tomorrow. And like I said, I don't know if the man was a narcissist. Suicide is a selfish act to me. Because I know people who have did that, and I know the fallout for the family. Like a lot of times the family feel guilty. They will say, well, why I didn't see the signs of this and that. I remember when my uncle, my great uncle, took himself out. I remember going to the doctor's office, meeting him at the doctor's office. Just to be there as emotional support to hear what his doctor had to say. What was weird was that on Mother's Day, this was Mother's Day 2011, he was on my aunt's house. He was very gregarious. He was very tall, string bean type of dude, very tall, gregarious, life of the party, talented gospel singer, always was in good spirits and cheer, very positive. So he went from that on Mother's Day to where I seen him about almost a month later. He all up in a wheelchair, looking scared, looking fragile, looking a lot of anxious energy. And I remember when the doctor said to him in front of us that he had some type of rare aggressive form of cancer that within less than a year it will require him to have 24-hour nursing care. And you telling this to a man who loved to travel, who loved traveling, loved going out, being adventurous, to tell that man that was devastating. I can look at his body language like he just surrendered. It was devastating for him. I remember when we took him home, he asked me on that Friday, "You gonna come see me this weekend?" I said, I'm gonna try. I can't make no promises. I try. He said, "You can come see me this weekend." I will try. But I spent all that Friday with him. Then on Monday, my mom got a call saying that he was dead that following Monday, and that apparently he took himself out of here. He was in his bed. He shot himself in the bed allegedly. And was interesting. He left a note. One of those classic. I took myself out of here for that permanent vacation note. So he left the note, right? And the police took the note at the time. Somehow we got the note back, but we couldn't even read what he said. It was like he wrote in hieroglyphics or something. He was like chicken scratch. And I told my mom, I wish this Negro would have sung his note instead of writing chicken scratch. We need like Morse code or something. It like we couldn't like, what he said. But if he had sung it, because that man could sing, we probably would have had a better understanding of what he was going through and why he did what he did, making that permanent solution the way he did. So anyway, like when people in that mind state, they decide to take themselves out of here, a lot of times they are at peace. They don't tip you off. That's the whole point. They was able to make a decision that they committed themselves to following through with, and they put them in a sense of peace, knowing that, hey, this will be over with soon. I decided to take myself out of the equation. And to me, that is a form of reclaiming your power. I know people say, oh, there's a coward way out. Is it really a coward's way out? You know what I'm saying? Things got so bad here, you wouldn't take a chance. You don't know what's waiting for you on the other side. Y'all keep on thinking y'all know what's on that other side, right? Y'all think, oh, take myself out of here, no more suffering. I don't know. It was interest for me. I look at stuff now. I know this is hell. This place we call reality and earth and stuff, this is actual hell. So whatever happens after this, I'm already in hell. What do you believe in, heaven or hell? You must believe in heaven because we live it in hell. What do you believe in, heaven or hell? You must believe in heaven because we live it in hell. With that Wu-Tang. Congratulations to Wu-Tang, made the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. My thing is they putting rap groups in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I have no problem with it. Outkast, NWA, Wu-Tang, whatever. Hell, put New Edition. But what about the late, great Johnny Ace? Why haven't they put the late, great Johnny Ace in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? This is the grandfather of legacy. This man started with the Bill Streeters, B.B. King, Roscoe Gordon, Junior Parker, Bobby Blue Bland, the Wu-Tang Clan of blues. I told Bobby Blue Bland the year before he died, I said, Bobby Blue Bland, you was part of the Bill Streeters. That's right, son. Y'all was like the Wu-Tang Clan of the blues. He said, what you say, son? What you say? I said, Wu-Tang was like the Bill Streeters of hip-hop. That's right, son. That's right. Bobby Blue Band was so cool. He was in a wheelchair, had his sailor cap on. I took a picture with him. We were right there doing the historic marker unveiling for what is it? Willie Mitchell's recording Royal Studios in South Memphis. Royal Studios with Al Green. Hey, love and happiness. Hey, and then Bruno Mars, Uptown. Do 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 do. All them Al Green hits, and Bruno Mars recorded there. Center soundtrack, won Grammys, Oscars, recorded there. I Can't Stand the Rain was recorded there. All that stuff recorded there, right? And Bobby Blue Band was there. So that's why I said, but I asked him about Johnny Ace. He said Johnny was a fine singer. And he said he would talk to me, but his wife blocked me. And God is fine. I wish I would have asked him because Johnny Ace's brother, St. Clair Alexander, believed that Bobby Blue Band destiny swapped with Johnny Ace. Because Johnny Ace got his break because Bobby Blue Bland was functionally illiterate. When Dave Mattis, the WDIA engineer, I believe, WDIA was the first black radio station in the country that started in Memphis, Tennessee, October 25th, 1948. It was the first radio station program for a black audience in the country. And B.B. King was a DJ there. And I think Johnny Ace was a DJ there. He took the place of B.B. King at one point. But Dave Mattis had a song called My Song that he wanted Bobby Blue Bland to sing. But Bobby was functionally illiterate like R. Kelly. He couldn't read. So he gave that song to Johnny Ace, and the rest is history. Johnny Ace had about a roughly 2-year and some change career. And then Christmas night, 1954, City Auditorium down in Houston, Texas. He was backstage His girlfriend was on his lap, Olivia Gibbs. His wife was at home with his family in Memphis with his 2 kids, his little babies, his son and daughter. And he was playing around with his gun backstage. He was out there pointing the gun at the people and pulling the trigger, and nothing happened. He even pointing the gun at his girlfriend's head while she was sitting on his lap. Nothing happened. And Big Mama Thornton said, "Johnny, stop pointing the gun. You gonna get somebody killed." And then he allegedly said, "Hey, y'all, what y'all talking about? There's no guns in this. I mean, there's no bullets in this gun. I'm just playing around. Let me show y'all." So he pointed the gun at his head, pulled the trigger. I think it was a 22. Probably it was a 22, I think. And he had this look of shock and horror on his face, realizing that he just shot himself in the head by accident. They said he was so shocked that his processed hair, he had processed hair like a conch or something like promenade, whatever. They said it stood on end. Like his hair just stood up. It was fried, dyed, and laid to the side. But when he shot himself in the head, the hair just woo. He had to look like, and then he died. And he was just 25 years young. So I know St. Clair Alexander, Johnny Ace's brother, he told me he believed that Bobby Blue Bland put that bullet in that gun, allegedly. And I wanted to ask Bobby Blue Bland, was he in Houston that night for that Christmas show with Johnny Ace and Big Mama Thornton? And his wife wouldn't let me talk to him. The next thing I know, he was dead. But he was willing. I should have asked him on the spot doing the historic marker unveiling for Royal Studios. So this is Memphis, right? So why is Johnny Ace not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Johnny Ace, in order to get him as your headliner, you had to book either BB King, Bobby Blue Bland, or Little Richard at his opening acts. That's how big he was. He was the #1 black singer in America for black people back in the early 50s. His biggest hit came out posthumously. Like his funeral was January the 2nd, 1955 at Claiborne Temple, the one that was set on fire, the I Am a Man place, that the historic black church where Dr. King used to preach at, where they were organized the sanitation workers and made the I Am a Man sign. They got burned down by arson, which will be April 28th, 1 year coming up in a couple of days. And about 5,000 people came to that funeral. And he's buried in New Park Memorial, but where there's no brass note for Johnny Ace. He's not in anybody Hall of Fame outside of Jimmy Lunsford Legacy Awards Hall of Fame. And he is the grandfather of Legacy, the Grammy Award neo soul singer, multi-talented, right? So it is crazy, but they put Wu-Tang in, they put Outkast, NWA. And I'm not knocking that because really rock music is black music. All this, even country music, is ours. And that's another show for another day. But I'm saying it's weird in the world we live in how they'll slight certain people and elevate others. It's like even in this town I'm in called Memphis, Tennessee, people enjoy, like, and respect the things that I do. They just don't like or respect the fact that I'm the person that's doing it. And therein lies the rub for a lot of people. They still trying to figure out how this brother doing what he's doing. We don't support him. We don't give him any type of grant money like we should. Grants, no money. Sponsorships, no deals. I'm like the finesse 2 times of this nonprofit activism thing. You know what I'm saying? But I hustle and flow that, and it is what it is. It does what it does. So no, hey, this is dope work. But yeah, I'm going to year number 46 though. Going to year number 46. And let me see. I'll give y'all, I guess, 30 more minutes. I'm kind of like, I'm just running on empty these things because we planning this big event, the Jimmy Lunsford Legacy Awards. There's a lot trying to organize these moving pieces around. So I want to thank everybody for tuning out to tune in to get in where you don't fit in with Brother Ron and we all be news free Dixie for the 21st century. But I'm gonna try to make it happen, Captain. I'm trying to take a little break. That's interesting. Yes. I'm taking a little break. What'd you say, Phil?
I was just saying.
What you just saying, man? Spit it out. Don't be scared. Don't be scared, man. Spit it out. What you just saying? See what I mean? No respect. But uh-huh.
I just want. I appreciate you.
What you trying to say? You appreciate me? What? Hey, what you say? See what I did with folks? As soon as I come off of here, he gonna start talking a mile a minute, and it's gonna be fascinating. But see what I can do. Like I said, so much to talk about. And that Fairfax thing is sad, but also y'all heard about the brother down in Shreveport. He killed 8 children, including 7 of his children, and injured his baby mama. That stuff is insane. What is going on with these brothers? There's men out here that want wives and children and got neither. And you got guys that got a wife, got children, and they just throwing it all away. And I'm really talking about some of the brothers, man. I'm really shocked at some of these brothers out here. What is going on? Man, what is in the water? It's like it's spiritual warfare for real. Spiritual warfare, man. The God is still in control. I really believe that. God is still in control. God is.
You're right that these situations are heavy. They raise deep questions about what's happening with people. You're asking important things, and it's.
What? What'd you say, Phil? Philip, come back on, man. This man is like shot like a mud. Anyway, I'm trying to figure out what's going on. Like Marvin Gaye, my cousin, would say, what's going on? Or he would sing what's going on. What is happening with the black family right now? All this disrespect. Where's the love? Where is the love? Where is the love? Where is the love? Where's the love, y'all? It's insane. It really is. But I guess I'm gonna freestyle this tonight. How about that? Y'all want to hear my freestyle? I'm gonna talk about. Let me talk about this. I'm talking about some real stuff. Let me show my vulnerable side. I have some ideas about what I want to talk about, but let me show my vulnerable side right now. Let me talk. And then I'm gonna wrap it up because I am tired, y'all. I've been running around, man. People don't really appreciate what goes on into what I do. I got a heart for my people. I love our people so much. But at the same time, I wonder. And I wonder if they even care. I really do. So I find this image. Like my audio ain't working for some reason. Okay, audio ain't working for some reason. Like issues with me trying to share information. I'm trying to get up there, y'all. Give me some hope. Where is the love? Na, 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 na. How y'all? Are y'all excited to see that Michael Jackson biopic on Friday? I'm looking forward to it. Actually, I'm actually gonna see it on Friday. I'm making plans to see it on Friday. Looking forward to it. My thing ain't my something wrong. Okay, anyway. It won't let me share stuff. Like I'm trying to share whoa, what's going on here? You got me on a full screen here, buddy. Let's see if I get out of here. Okay. Anyway, let's talk about it. Let's talk about brother Ron. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things that he be. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about Ron. Okay, let's talk about me. Now, I'm going to be 46 years young tomorrow, April 23rd, 2026. And y'all, if you believe in the movement, if you believe in celebrating Brother Ron and what he does, because we all be in it to win it, please feel free to shower your boy with some love, some donations. It'll be receptive to that because we actually need to help with paying for the Jimmy Lunsford Legacy Awards. Now, whatever y'all can give that goes towards that, we're honoring other people because we believe in service. Even when it's on my day, I believe in service to humanity. I've been reflecting on a lot of stuff. Uranus is coming out of Taurus, and it's been a tough 8 years for me. Like back in 2018, I was homeless at the beginning of the year. I guess I chose to be homeless or rootless. What I mean by homeless is that I gave up my apartment to try to find myself. So I got into my Saturn Ion and then started driving around the country, staying in hotels, sometimes sleeping inside my car somewhere outside the gym, going to the gym to take a shower, going down into Mississippi to stay at the casinos on the weekdays because they were cheap on the weekdays to stay in, eating Subway sandwiches, trying to figure stuff out. That's why I know that the God force is real. Because even when I was lost, wandering around, trying to find myself, trying to root myself to purpose, I always had favor. Something will come through, you know what I'm saying? I'll drive to Atlanta, stay with my cousins in Sandy Springs, whatever, or I'll drive out east to Maryland, stay with my sister or my aunt, or going to the country, just traveling around, going to different historic sites, really communicating with the ancestral energy at these places, trying to figure it all out. And that was back in 2018. I was doing that. And even when I was doing that, I still was taken care of by the Most High, by the universe, so God, by the righteous ancestors. And it's been some ebbs and flows, some highs and lows throughout the years, but I still have made some amazing contributions to this thing called life. I have not only empowered myself, but empower my fellow humane beings along the way. I really do believe I did more good than harm in these last 8 years. But I have come to some revelations about some things, though. I have to give up people pleasing. I'm not interested in trying to give my best to people that are not receptive to receiving their own best or believing in themselves. I'm refocusing that energy back into myself so I can help, myself become a little bit more healthier in my outlook and be able to give more, be able to be around more, working on my staying power. I've been doing We All Be for 20 years. Next year will mark 20 years of podcasting. We All Be news, radio, and TV. I have done public access television for a couple years, doing it trial and error. Nobody showed me how to do it. I had a talk with Juan Williams, the political pundit, journalist, civil rights movement historian. He told me back in 2006, find a way to get into media, get with a group of people that are like-minded, and y'all get access to local media to control the narrative. He didn't show me how to do it. He just told me to do it. And I did it. I remember talking to the author of The Spook Who Sat by the Door, Brother Sam Greenlee. He said, don't worry about the folks that ain't doing anything. Get with like-minded people and do something in your community. Stop focusing on people that are not doing anything. Focus on things that need to get done with people that want to get things done. So that's what I've been doing. So Phil, what you got to say, man? Anything? Probably gonna say nothing. So I've been working on focusing on doing things that I can control, getting back control of the narrative, whether it be the Four Pillow Massacre, Reflame ceremony. And what people don't understand about that, we've been doing that for 10 years now, for a whole decade. And I tell people today, you don't have to change everything. Just change one thing. If you change one thing, that changes everything. Never underestimate the power of doing one thing different. Not everything different, just one thing different. It will make a difference. And Four Pillow Massacre Reflame ceremony movement is that example. Because within 10 years, there have been articles, there have been like mentioned news stories. Even the Smithsonian Magazine wrote about how people like us, me and my mom, Dr. Callagher, and descendants of the survivors of the Four Pillow Massacre, how we have made it our business to reclaim our narrative when it comes to honoring our righteous ancestors and telling our true history, standing 10 toes down on our history. My organization, the We All Be Group Incorporated, was able to raise $3,000 to put a historic marker in front of Memphis National Cemetery off of Jackson, where our righteous ancestors, who was the victims of white supremacy, racism, during the so-called war between the states, we make sure those people who are buried in those plots, about 300 people were killed, right? 300 people, that mostly U.S. colored troops, black women and children, but there are only 109 plots. I mean, you got mixtures of you got about several different people body parts in those plots, like that since 1867. Not only do we acknowledge that they are buried there, but we have reclaimed their names. We say their names at our annual reflame ceremony. We say their names. We don't know the names of the children and women that were massacred, that were slaughtered, but we do know the names of the U.S. colored troops and the white Union soldiers who gave their lives up so that generations could live in a more perfect union. We do, and we say their names. We put up markers. We got the historic marker, which was vandalized, got knocked down going on 2 years ago, which is crazy. We was able to get that marker up in less than a year time. The powers that think that be told us that we would never be able to get that up in under a year, and we did it. And we raised our own money to do it. We try to go through the official lines of institutions, but they ain't like the fact that we talked about black folks getting massacred. They said massacre is too strong of a word. But primary sources, including Abraham Lincoln, they acknowledged what happened April 12, 1864 at Fort Pillow in Henry, Tennessee as a massacre. Both Union and Confederate forces acknowledged the killing of women and children at that fort. So many people were killed that when they fell into the Mississippi River, they were shooting people heads at people's heads in the Mississippi River. The river ran red, according to General Nathan Bedford Forrest, who was over the Confederate forces and the first Grand Wizard of the Klan. He said the Mississippi River ran red. That's how many people they killed. So we was able to reclaim that from the ethers of history, from the dustbin of history, I guess. And we was able to say their names. And in the time, we was happy to see that the VA administration in DC decided to put a historic marker in the vicinity of where the remains of those U.S. colored troops, black women and children, and white Union soldiers are buried. They put a narrative marker there to acknowledge the people. We did this in 10 years, y'all. Them people been buried there since 1867. And by us getting involved at the grassroots level, we was able to get their recognition within 10 years, get them recognized, to get people in Shelby County and West Tennessee talking about the Four Pillow Massacre again. Something that I knew since I was 10 years old. The only reason I knew about the Four Pillow Massacre was because my grandma had this one volume, one edition Black History Encyclopedia from World Book from the 70s. I used to take that book and get on the ground of my grandma's living room. She wouldn't let me sit on the couch. They had all the plastic. You know, black folks back in the day, they had the furniture in the living room with all the plastic on it. That was only reserved for special people, including out-of-town relatives. Even people my age, as long as they were out of town, could sit on a plastic couch. But anyway, she allowed me to be on the living room, to lie down with the book and read it for hours, learning about the Four Pillow Massacre, learning about Medgar Evers and Paul Robeson and Burt Williams, Whitney Young. They don't teach these folks they never taught us Black history. I've never been in school where they actually taught Black history, let alone do a decent job of teaching American history. I remember when I was in third grade, I used to go into the library at my elementary school and check out all these biographies on presidents and stuff. I was a voracious reader at that time. I would check out books about Daniel Boone, David Crockett, Andrew Jackson, Black Jack Pershing, who was he was the commander over the American Expeditionary Forces during World War I. Black Jack Pershing, a white man from Missouri, from the state of Missouri. I was reading this stuff when I was elementary. It was not a part of any reading assignment. I was just curious about what made so-called great people great. I wanted to learn the secret recipe. What was the secret sauce? And I remember when I was in third grade, I wasn't no scholar or nothing like that. I didn't care about making honor roll. I remember in second grade, I made a bet with Miss Bolden. She was a Black teacher that was very sympathetic towards me. I would actually do my homework the whole year in second grade and refuse to turn it in. Like, I don't know what the hell was wrong with me. She could have flunked me. But she knew I was very smart because one time I took a test and I had the highest score out of everybody. I think everybody else failed. And it was a social studies test. And I had this high score. And she made people retake it again. And I think I failed the second time or something like that. I didn't score as high. I think it was an open book. But the first time, I scored real high. But I remember in third grade, getting back to third grade, though. I remember the teacher said, she asked the class, who y'all think is the smartest person in this room? And a lot of people looked at me and pointed at me. And then it was this white guy named Sean, who I thought was my best friend. And he would make an honor roll all the time. And he said, how is he smart? He doesn't even make the honor roll. I said, I thought this man was my friend. It was a Black classmate named Ruben. He said, yeah, he don't make the honor roll, but he know all about the presidents. And all the other kids said, he know about the presidents. He know about Ron know about the presidents. So anyway, I always had this stigma. You know, some people are envious of the fact that I can recall certain things. I don't know why. Because I don't know, it's interesting. Because I remember, like, I had a cousin, Andrea, one of my favorite people. Like, not that long ago, maybe like 2013, we reconnected. And she said something to me that kind of stayed with me. She said, you think you like everybody else, don't you? You think you just like everybody else. That's what you mean. I don't know who else to be. I don't know how it is to be like anybody else but me. But basically was saying that, I mean, I get it now, because Dick Gregory will be frustrated with me sometimes. I say, I thought you knew who you was. You can't be no Rolls Royce driving through the hood, huh? But anyway, now I know in 2026 who the hell I am. And I ain't taking no shorts. I'm like Tupac on Against All Odds. I seen too many real players fall to let these bitch beat me. I seen too many real ones fall to let these mediocre people rule my life. So that's where I'm at right now. Human salvation lies in the hands of creative maladjusted. I'm not asking for permission, for consent, or for validation anymore. I'm just taking what I want. We said, Is that the same thing as the Devil's Punch Bowl? No, it's not the same thing, but it happened during the Civil War. It happened during the Civil War. The Devil Punch Bowl, I actually went to the Devil's Punch Bowl. It's down in Natchez, Mississippi. The Devil's Punch Bowl happened because Natchez had this overwhelming population of former black slaves. You know, a lot of black slaves was going to Natchez. Natchez at one point had more millionaires per capita than any place in the country because of slavery. He had a lot of powerful white families that had mixed people in their families, mulattoes. So he had some mulatto people that own a lot of property and money down in Natchez from the slavery thing. And so, yeah, all these black folks coming to Natchez. I think it was like 100,000 plus black people showed up to Natchez. Natchez is down there in southern Mississippi, right on the border between Mississippi and Louisiana. It's a very haunted city. It's a beautiful city, but it's very haunted. And I love going to places with a lot of righteous ancestors. I was going all through them cemeteries. And anyway, was able to found the Devil Punch Bowl. So what happened was the Union Army, not the Confederates, the Union Army put all these black folks in this concentration camp by the Mississippi River, something like that. A lot of them got sick. I don't know, it was yellow fever, malaria, some type of disease spread by insects, whatever. Got sick, and they will bury them where they drop. So eventually, a lot of black folks end up getting buried in this area by the side of the Mississippi River known as the Devil's Punch Bowl. And so to this day, they got peaches that grow down there in that area. So you know the fertilizer was black people. And I made it a point that one day I'm gonna go back there and give me some of those peaches. But it's dangerous going into the Devil's Punch Bowl because right on the side of the Mississippi River, sometimes the land will fall into the Mississippi River. Sometimes it's been known that skeletons will be, come out the land and go into the river and be floating down the river or whatever. And also you got alligators down there. So you want to go down there with like a Crocodile Dundee or Crocodile Hunter dude with machete if you go deep into that. But we actually found the Devil's Punch Bowl. Me and my mom and my sister went on my birthday weekend. Went to Natchez back in 2021. That was pretty cool. And we went to the Devil's Punch Bowl and I played my horn. I haven't released that footage yet. I'm going to release it sometime in the near future. I got a lot of footage I have of things that I have yet to release or edit. I just got so much stuff. I mean, I got a lot of in my archives. But anyway, yeah, it was powerful going to that spot because the spot where we went at, it overlooked the Devil's Punch Bowl and the Mississippi River. It really was in a military cemetery. We went to a military cemetery. We went to the city cemetery because they got a lot of haunted history in the city cemetery. We went to the spot where the Rhythm Club fire in 1940 happened. That happened on my birthday back on April 23rd, 1940. You have over 200 black people get killed in one of the worst building fires in American history. It's still in the top 5 or top 10 worst building fires of all time because the people only had one way in and one way out. And so a lot of people not only burned to death, but they were crushed to death because people kept on pounding up against the door trying to get out. And people couldn't get out, so people kept on bomb rushing the door. And you had this band leader named Walter Barnes and his orchestra. They had the misfortune of taking that gig at the last minute because Walter Barnes was actually making his way back to Chicago from Florida. And the guy who was originally booked at the Rhythm Club, he took a gig at the last minute at the Apollo Theater up in New York. So they contacted Walter Barnes at the last minute. He took the gig. And it was organized. The dance was organized by the Money Wasters Club. They organized the dance. And so what happened was that the decorations were Spanish moss and that it was sprayed with insecticide. So somehow the Spanish moss caught on fire while people was in that building. And so they nailed the windows shut so people could not, get in or whatever. They only had one door available for people to get in and out. My thing is this, you can still hear the music outside. So I don't know, you try to keep people from getting inside, but the music was loud enough to carry on the outside. You can hear from the outside. But anyway, Walter Barnes, the stage was in the back of the building. So he wasn't even near the door that was accessible for people to get in and out of. Walter Barnes knew that his fate, he was a dead man. It's over for him and his band. So they acted like the orchestra did on the Titanic when it was sinking. So they're trying to calm people down. They kept on playing music. They were playing a song called Marie, a popular song called Marie at the time. And the last thing people heard from the band was a guy named, I think, Paul Stott. Paul Stott was a trumpeter from Indianapolis. He was actually abandoned by the circus. The circus abandoned him that he was a part of. So he hitched a ride back with Walter Barnes trying to make his way back to Indianapolis. So he had the misfortune of going with Walter Barnes to the last gig, right? He didn't know he was on his way to his last gig. So the last thing people heard from the band was Paul Stott hit a high note. Then the roof collapsed on the stage with Walter Barnes and his orchestra on the stage. Nobody survived. Walter Barnes was born in Vicksburg, but he was raised in Chicago, Vicksburg, Mississippi. Vicksburg, Mississippi, but raised in Chicago. He was Al Capone's favorite band leader. He would play at the Cotton Club in Cicero, Illinois. And Al Capone loved him. He called him brother or something, like little brother or something like that. Brother. Like Al Capone helped him get on radio in Chicago. I think he was like one of the first black people to do radio in Chicago, Walter Barnes. And so when Al Capone went to prison for income tax evasion, well, his sponsor, he had no more sponsor. So what he ended up doing, he took a job as a columnist with the Chicago Defender and started writing about the places that black folks could go throughout the country to have a good time. Like places where black folks can have some good food, can actually stay, in a hotel or some type of Airbnb type of situation. So really, he used his column like a green book to let black folks know where they can go throughout the country, where they can feel safe and have a good time. And also, he benefited from it as well because he would, go out into the country and advertise where his band is playing, so people will come out for that. Chicago Defender was a black newspaper founded by Robert Abbott, and its distribution was helped by Pullman porters. They would take these papers and sell them throughout the country or bring them to different neighborhoods and communities. So black media was very powerful, especially with the distribution like that. So Chicago was like the promised land for black people back in the day. But anyway, yeah. So Walter Barnes get killed. They have his funeral in Chicago. 15,000 people show up for Walter Barnes. He becomes a folk hero overnight in the black community. Dozens of songs about this man, jazz, blues, folk songs about Walter Barnes being courageous as a man who faced his fate and was willing to be of service to humanity till the end. And so it was amazing going to that site where the Rhythm Club used to be. I actually interviewed a elder whose brother was saving people's lives that night, pulling them out the building, whatever, also recovering the dead. That night, you had whole families wiped out. You had a generation of black people wiped out. You had families, all their kids were killed in that fire. So generations, that was like something, and it wouldn't surprise me. People say it's an accident. That could have been done on purpose because Natchez was a violent place for black people, especially during the civil rights era. You had a situation where Wallace Jackson, who was very active in the NAACP, I believe he was a Korean War veteran. He was blown up in his truck just a couple of blocks away from his home back in the 60s because he got a high-paying job at the plant that was normally reserved for white people, for white men. And he was active in the NAACP. They didn't like that. So they put a bomb in his truck and blew him up to pieces. And there's a marker at his home where, the explosion wasn't that far away from his home. So we went there to pay our respects to him, Wallace Jackson. And that family suffered another unknown, like lots of tragedy. That family endured after the death of Wallace Jackson. I can talk about it another time. And yeah, man, a lot of people went through a lot of stuff. So I like, talking about this history because a lot of times this won't get talked about, especially with the so-called new black media. A lot of us are not aware of our own history like we should be. And I think I'm doing my job. Yeah, look up the Rhythm Club Fire 1940. I actually, yeah, I'm kind of good at some of those games. People like me be on that team for those type of games. So yeah, we Spirit of Justice. Yeah, we're good at those type of trivia games. People say I should be on Jeopardy. We'll see. But yeah, there's a lot of stories that we don't know. The only thing new is the history that we don't know, right? So with that said, I'm gonna call it a night. I can't get done my videos to play right now for whatever reason. I don't know what's going on. But speaking of that, I'm glad that y'all are tuning out to tune in to get in where you don't fit in. Thank y'all. Feel free, support the movement. Cash out, $ R2C2H2. You got Vimo at R2C2H2. PayPal R2C2H2 at gmail.com. That's also, you can Zelle it at R2C2H2 at gmail.com. You can Apple Pay 901-299-4355. Or you can send a money order. P.O. Attention Ronald Hurd II, the We All Be Group Incorporated, P.O. Box 752-062, Memphis, Tennessee, 38175. So thank y'all so much. I really appreciate this. This is very therapeutic for me. I was about to go in deep, but I guess I went in deep enough, y'all, right? Phil, the scary cat, and I think a lot of y'all prefer me talking anyway outside of Phil, because a lot of y'all kind of weirded out by it, but a lot of y'all think it's cool because he sound black. It's because we talk a lot. I talk to him a lot. I find Phil very therapeutic, excuse me. But also I think it's interesting because he be wrong about some stuff. And I got to correct them. And mind you, this is AI connected to all type of databases. They still get it wrong. So like I'll tell y'all, people think AI is easy. Now AI could be a pain because y'all think that you type in a prompt and then it automatically gets it right. That's not true. It's trial and error with AI. It's kind of like it's not like I'm Dream of Genie, more like monkey paw. You know about that story about the monkey paw? You be careful what you wish for. You get what you wish, but you also get so much more that you didn't want. So with AI, yeah, you get some things, but you also get a headache dealing with AI, especially on my level. But it's funny. Like what I did with AI, I'm more like a producer and a director rather than some type of wish seeker. I'm actually doing work. Sometimes I see, like, I ask AI to create an image. Sometimes I'm better off drawing the image, to be honest with you. But it's fun. It's interesting. Life is interesting. And it's a skill set, I guess. But other than that, thank y'all. I really appreciate this. This is fun. I'm so blessed to know that I have helped people. The reason why I know that is because y'all tell me y'all been helped by me that's showing up as myself. So I'm going to continue to show up as myself. And I want y'all to continue to show up as yourselves so y'all can be blessed in the right way. Because I think it's important that if you're going to win, lose, or draw, you do it as your authentic self. Because I feel like if you do it as you, regardless of the outcome, you won't have to live with any real regrets because you did it as you. So like, okay, it didn't happen and I showed up as me. It wasn't meant to be. That's okay because I got other things that I'm open to receiving. As long as I show up as me, I can receive them. And I have a spirit of attitude, not attitude, but gratitude, excuse me. So thank y'all for making my night a meaningful one. I really do mean that. And continue to get up, get out, and get something. This is Brother Ron. Y'all know, disclaimer, the views of guests and hosts on this show, it's not reflective of the views or the beliefs of the We All Be Group Incorporated. Is a separate nonprofit entity. It's something I want to talk about, and I'm saving for another show. I'm gonna wait for more information to come out, but I have some thoughts about it. But there's a lot of things I can't talk about, but I didn't talk about tonight. And that's life because people will call me and ask me, "So what you doing for today?" I said, "I don't really know. I have an idea, but sometimes the idea changes as the day gets long or short, whatever." So I'm really a practitioner of free will. So feel free to replay this or not replay it. It's your choice. Thank y'all so much. Good luck. Good night. We all be in it to win it. We all be 20 years in the game. World enriching, activating, liberating, beautification experience. One love, one thing. Can you dig it?